After a year working with VK Yaroslavich, I've lost a noticeable amount of physical shape, and it hasn't done my health any favors either. So during the off-season, I decided to dive headfirst into the training grind. But to be real, I needed a specific goal to make it stick. And what kind of goal did I set for myself? I want to serve harder than a girl. Sounds weird, I know, but what can you do? Melissa Vargas just broke her own record with a serve, clocked at 113 km per hour. My best attempt so far is stuck at 104 km per hour. Somehow, some way, I want to beat the Turkish player, at least in this one thing. The mission is pretty straightforward, but I decided to get a little experimental and try to make gains in a not-so-volleyball way. Namely, pump up my arms, as cliché as that sounds. I already have a strong back, so a lot of people might get the wrong idea that my arms are huge too. But in reality, my twigs are no different from any average rec league volleyball player's arms. And since I don't have the chance to regularly work on my serving technique in the gym, I'm gonna try to make progress the experimental way. In this series of short videos, I'll be showing my journey toward that goal, and it doesn't matter if the experiment turns out to be a success or a total flop. I started somewhere around the end of May, and obviously I wasn't dreaming of any quick results. At the start I weighed about 95 kilos, a tired and kinda flabby 95 kilos. Considering I'm already 35, getting back into intense training wasn't exactly a walk in the park. I'd get gassed fast, take forever to recover, and during heavy sets I'd start running out of breath and getting dizzy. So in the first phase I completely focused on my health, including my knees, which I'd wrecked pretty badly over the last season. Of course, I haven't regressed all the way back to my prime at 23 to 25, when even walking upstairs without warming up hurt like hell. But even my current state is a huge disappointment to me. I put together a routine that I start every gym session with. If you want a separate detailed video on that, let me know. I haven't even thought about heavy weights yet. I stuck to light high-rep work and a decent amount of cardio to get my body going and get rid of the dizzy spells. But even in that format, I still managed to mess up my wrist while trying to channel my weightlifting youth. Unlike with my knees, I couldn't figure out what to do about it for a long time. By the time this video drops, I've almost managed to fix it, which is great. And as a bonus, I've added another meme-worthy exercise to my collection. As for building arm strength, that's the simplest part of my program. Most of the time I do cable exercises for triceps and biceps in different variations. Not that switching exercise makes any real difference. I just change them based on my mood. Sometimes I throw in some vertical pulling movements so my back doesn't forget it exists. I also do bench press, but that's more of a personal quirk. It's part of the strength block I'm planning to finish by early August. I'll go into more detail about that in the next video. Even though my goal is purely serve speed, I still have to train my legs no matter what. So besides working on my strength base, I do some jumping here and there, though still in pretty modest amounts. I've shed a bit of fat, but after adding creatine, my weight's still hovering around 94 to 95 kilos. That's definitely too heavy for intense jump work. I can do a little jumping in the gym once a week, and sometimes I go play some volleyball in the park. But honestly, I don't even try there, so calling it jump training would be a stretch. It's more like some twisted form of cardio. Over these 2 months, I've barely played any volleyball. I showed up once for a City Day tournament in June, dropped by the gym a couple of times to work on my serve, and even did a little hitting once. In the second half of July, I got dragged into playing beach volleyball, and that same night I headed to Moscow for my Stockholm tournament. I absolutely hate it, but for some reason I keep going back. Luckily this time we at least got into the gym in the evening. Huge thanks to the guys for their hospitality and the great vibe. I hope they'll agree to film some first-person volleyball during the season, because my old man volleyball isn't really interesting to anyone anymore. In the next video, I'll talk about what I was doing for most of July and how my strength cycle wraps up. It'll be the starting point for picking my jump and hitting power. And you guys, let me know what you'd like me to go into more detail about in the next episode. Well, as always, this has been Nick with you. Love what you do and you'll definitely succeed. See you soon. Peace.